West side, I'm triple gold. Yeah, picture me rolling with some Dayton's on the Benz. I got no love for you niggas, ain't no need to be friends. Included you in my vision, thought you wanted to win. Cut you out, I tore it down and built it over again. Shit ain't stopping, I'ma pop it till the day is the end. Made myself in the beginning, then I made me again. When it's over, ice my shoulder, I ain't making amends. Play that trick in CeeLo Green, let it blow in the wind. I'm smoking better than I ever did. Gas prices just dropped, guess who got it in? Come get a fill up while the price right. In the dark, I'm shining like a night light. Cutting snow cap, the weed whiter than ice spice. Like Mike, what I say when they ask how I'm trying to ball. Y'all thinking Calvin Cambridge, but I went bald and all. Long story short, I'm never folding, but niggas still wishing and hoping. Picture me rolling, shining when you see me outside. I be chain smoking high, got me out of my mind. She be calling, trying to kick it, but it's hard to find time. Wake up in the morning, thank God, and then grind. Yeah, I don't pop pills, can you picture me rolling? 4K still, can you picture me rolling? Undeveloped film, can you picture me rolling? Fuck a record deal, can you picture me? Picture me, you niggas tickle me. Ain't fucking with my baby pictures, is you kidding me? Triple gold, made Dayton daily, I'm back in that mode. Before the summer's over, match me, I smoke out the bowl, make it roll. In the beginning, shit was going slow. Pack drop, this growing wings, come get it for it's gone. Check the mail, break a box like I'm Donkey Kong. Did a reel, made a sale before I up the post. Phone ringing, where you at? I'm on the way to you. Out the trunk, I made a killing, I know Ray Caruth. You can't dunk if you need me to throw the alley-oop. Never seen a meal, but it's coming soon, I found the loop. Went to Muse, in the dark you see my jewelry gleam. Had to make some chicken soup, them niggas sick of me. I'm back together, niggas wanna see me broken. Of course I had to triple my golden. Picture me rolling, shining when you see me outside. I be chain smoking high, got me out of my mind. She be calling, trying to kick it, but it's hard to find time. Wake up in the morning, thank God, and then grind. Yeah, I don't pop pills, can you picture me rolling? 4K still, can you picture me rolling? Undeveloped film, can you picture me rolling? Fuck a record deal, can you picture me? West side, I'm so motherfucking triple gold. Niggas hoped it was over, but in my mind, we just getting started.
Oscar Mike Radio is a proud podcast partner of Wreaths Across America Radio, heard every Thursday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern. They're also big supporters of the nonprofit I Got Your Six, Two Lives at Once. And with every wreath you sponsor through Oscar Mike Radio, $5 goes back to this great organization dedicated to making a difference in the lives of veterans, law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders battling PTSD. Two Lives at Once pairs these brave men and women together with dogs rescued from kill shelters. In this way, two lives are saved at the same time by saving each other. Donate now. Go to wreathsacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio to help. That's wreathsacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio.
Met you, there was peace unknown. I set out to get you with a fine-tooth comb. I was soft inside. There was something going on.
Monotony. It comes in all shapes and sizes. Dull, tedious, just plain boring. But what is this? A contender, perhaps? Something unboring by the looks of it. jabs right at dull, an uppercut to tedium, something that keeps you on your toes, keeps your head on a swivel, a knockout punch to your old, boring workouts. Welcome to Fight Camp.
Can anybody out there hear me? Hear me? 'Cause I just wanna
Get ready! Woo! We on tour and we're doing it better than anybody else alive. Now, Buddy Landell, it's so hard for me to sit back here in this studio looking at a guy out here hollering my name when last year I spent more money on skid liquor.
Every bar's holy, straight divinity. Great stability with ancient wizardry. God ghost writing on the page after I prayed, he visits me. My frame is spiritually plateauing when angels lifted me.
Welcome to Turnbuckles and Spilt Liquor Podcast. I'm your host, Lito, with my co-host, Sinista1. And we got another special guest today. CEO of NCW Northeast Championship Wrestling, our man John Casey. What's up with you today?
Not too much, fellas. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, sir. Now you know when John come on, something's going on, right? Something's happening. First and foremost, I always want to check in, with my guys and see how everybody doing. So John, if you had to put your mental wellness on a scale today, but 1 to 10, what would you say you are today?
Ooh, let's call it a 6. We'll go with a 6. I think that's fair.
Okay, cool. Hopefully by the end of the pod, you'll be a 7, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
And what about you, Sinister? How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm at an 8. I'm at an 8. I'm real good. Busy at work. Busy, overall happy. So I'm at an 8 today.
You're an 8 today. Okay. Word, cool. I teeter around a 6, 7. Probably 7.5, 8 today. Maybe somewhere around there. Just a little tired. Brain is tired from learning a whole bunch of stuff in my new career. So it's just, you know how work goes. You got to come home and then you got to decompress and all of that good stuff. So glad to have you on today, John. So what you got going on?
Well, in about we got 4 days left before we hit up our 2025 season kickoff for Northeast Championship Wrestling Friday night in Dedham. Starting off our 28th year.
28 years. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's why I'm an old man now, but or I feel like an old man. But yeah, so I mean that's in addition to my full-time day job, this is also my full-time night job. So, the job never stops. The work never stops.
Right. That is so crazy. So 28 years is a long time. What type of preparation are you doing for this particular show?
So I think I mentioned this the last time I was on, but NCW, we don't run yearly. We take a little bit of a winter hiatus. We usually run through November, December, try to avoid that New England snow, that temperamental weather, and we try to come back a little bit stronger into the springtime. Usually March, we roll back in. So during that off time, that's really kind of like my little Christmas vacation, my little holiday. Try to do some trips, try to do some vacationing.
Right.
I had recovered from my broken arm last year, so did a little bit of traveling during my off season, and then coming back at the end of January, that's kind of when preparation really starts.
Okay.
we already hammer in our upcoming events for the year. So our talent knows our dates. We promote them out to our social medias and to our website. And then we just start that promotional push, that more or less involves me, boots on the ground, going to local businesses in the local towns and surrounding areas, putting up posters. That's the old fashioned way of doing things, but I'll tell you what, it's tried and true.
Yeah.
It is still the best way to get word out to the community. And it's also good conversation starters. I throw my NCW hoodie on and I go out there and I'm putting up posters. People, hey, what's that? What, it gets to talking. You get talking to people.
Right.
I'll drop off some complimentary tickets to some of our local businesses. That way, fans can go and grab a couple of free tickets. And then we have the social media push. We have the press releases, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, or whatever it is nowadays.
Yeah, whatever they want to call it. Who knows what that's called now?
We actually have a Felicia's in the chat. She says she's around a 6.75 for mental health.
Nice.
Okay.
With a laughing emoji.
Well, hopefully, Felicia, by the time this is over with, hopefully, you are at least a 7.5. That's what this is about anyway. We get on here, we get to talk to each other, and then whatever life has thrown at us, we get a chance to take a break from that for a minute. So,
yeah.
Now, do you have any overlapping storylines from 2024 that are carrying over into 2025?
Oh man, do we? Absolutely. Ever since we started doing the seasons, I'm a big fan of cliffhangers, of things to come. Our talent, everybody's very collaborative, and we always love seasons. And it doesn't really happen in today's world with WWE because their machine never stops. You have WrestleMania and Monday Night Raw is the next night, and you're already on to the next pay-per-view. So there's no real chance to kind of let yourself breathe. So we try to make our last event of the year the WrestleMania of our shows. It's the big blowout, big title matches, big title changes. And the end of last year, we were telling a story. I think we had mentioned it the last time we were on here. Right Stuff Stephen Lust had to forfeit his New England title. He had already won our big city rumble, along with the cold hard truth Johnny Pierce, to kind of get them into that title match at WrestleFest. But Lust was injured. Lust was out. So Johnny Pierce and Mike Montero, they had a hell of a match at WrestleFest. They were going at it for that NCW title. And Stephen Lust showed his ass up in the main event, not cleared to compete, and not medically cleared, in his street clothes, and entered himself into that match. And despite he was not actually cleared to wrestle until January. That is not a storyline. That is a straight up real life truth.
Oh,
that
shit. So he took it upon himself to put it. Okay.
He did not want to. He already had to give up his New England title. He did not want to lose the chance to get back that heavyweight title. And he showed up during that match. He wrecked everybody. And I would say, by the skin of his teeth, he pinned both guys, Mike Montero and Johnny Pierce, and he won that heavyweight title. That was the last moment of our year. He got medically cleared in January, and so now he's going to show up on March 21st, Friday night in Dedham, and he's going to have that heavyweight title. He is the champion. Johnny Pierce, he doesn't really feel the same way. He feels he got kind of screwed. Mike Montero, he is dealing with a back injury of his own, so he's actually on the shelf himself. So heading into this Friday, you got a lot of chaos over that heavyweight belt. Stephen Lust, Johnny Pierce, and Johnny Pierce has already said that if Stephen Lust doesn't hand over that belt, he's gonna pretty much murder everybody in the locker room until he gets his hands on Stephen Lust. So.
Damn. That's dope, man. That's an interesting storyline, even though most of it is the truth.
The best storylines have that sliver of reality, right? I think that goes back to WWE. Like, Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin, that was the real dude. He was that beer swilling, trash talking redneck. And he took that reality. When Owen Hart broke his neck and he couldn't wrestle for those 6 months. His rivalry with Vince McMahon, him giving Vince McMahon the Stone Cold Stunner in Madison Square Garden, like that's reality. There's real life to that.
Right.
So
it's facts.
So Stephen Lust, he's a dude that, he didn't want to be put on the shelf. He was forced on the shelf, and he said, no, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do this. Johnny Pierce, he spent the entire year not getting pinned. He didn't get pinned once all throughout 2024. So that loss to Stephen Lust was the first loss he had all year where his shoulders were pinned to the mat. So he was hot about that. He was angry about that. He hasn't spoken. He's let his manager, Kevin Castro, do all the talking for him. And at the end of that night, I heard him in the locker room. He was screaming. He was swearing. He was the loudest I had seen him in 12 months. So going into Friday, I love that little bit of reality to it, where these guys, they're real people. They're hard workers. They're hard talent. And they're tremendous personalities. And when you kind of throw them all into the pot and let them cook, it's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
So I got a question. So when putting an indie show together, right?
Yep.
You know how like WWE and AEW, they may have people who write the ending. They may write who's going to win that match. Do you guys do that, or do they talk amongst themselves and kind of figure out how they want to, however they play to the crowd a little bit to see, how we're going to do it? Do they decide on the fly, like, amongst themselves in there?
So, I guess, not to lift the veil too much, but I would say in NCW specifically, the stories have to go through me. The matches have to go through me.
Okay.
But a guy like Johnny Pierce, who was notoriously, I guess, considered a heel, he's the bad guy. he's the villain of the piece. But there is a large percentage of our Dedham wrestling fans that love that guy. They cheer for him every single show. Stephen Lust, for the majority of his NCW career, he's been a heel. He's been a bad guy himself. And he's recently kind of turned to the side of getting the cheers from the fans and things like that. So Johnny Pierce and Stephen Lust, I don't know who they're going to cheer for. I don't know who they're going to boo for. I don't know what's going to happen Friday night. And I think those are two professionals that they will go with what the crowd decides. And they'll be able to kind of tell that story to make it interesting. And then I'm in the back. I'm behind the curtains. I'm watching on my video screen and seeing what's going on. I'm worried about getting the next match out there. But if I see a reaction, if I see the crowd react a certain way to what they're doing in the ring, I know, okay, we got to explore that. We got to see what they do next.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I was just wondering, not to, like you said, unveil the, the secrets and everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I know when we did our backyard wrestling, like we didn't write anything. It was, you can't continue. No, I guess I won then.
We started backyard wrestling. I was 14. That was when NCW started. And, it was roughly the same. We were a little more tongue in cheek. And even back then, NCW, we've always been of the mind that, like, wrestling's kind of silly, right? You got grown adults in spandex fighting around in a wrestling ring. Some of them in bright colors, some of them, these larger than life personalities. There's something very silly about wrestling. But, for all of us that grew up watching wrestling, there's something larger than life about it that, like, it hooks you in. And, like, as long as what you do and you take it seriously, you can be as silly as you want to be. I can know how ridiculous it is. I know how funny it kind of seems. Even I tell my coworkers, I work for a giant bank, a big corporation during the day. And at, I say, oh, sorry, I got to go to wrestling this weekend. And they're like, wrestling?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, wrestling. It's
People do that to me too. And it's so crazy because I have a friend that, I tell him like, yeah, he may call or something. I'm watching wrestling. Oh, you watching the guys with the panties on? I'm like, oh, that's the way you feel. Like you didn't grow up watching wrestling at one point. When I found out it was fake, I stopped watching. I said, listen, if I slam you on the ground right now, it's gonna hurt. If I slam you outside in the grass, it's gonna hurt. And depending on if I jump off of something and I land an elbow, it's gonna hurt.
If I go to the movies and watch Avengers Endgame, I'm not sitting there, and when Captain America is fighting Thanos, I'm not like, man, that looks so fake.
Yeah.
Or like,
exactly.
oh, I can see the green screen. No, I'm caught up in the emotion of the moment.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the hell out of that movie. Like,
Right.
yeah, I know John McClane's not killing anybody for real in Die Hard, but when Hans Gruber gets thrown off a roof, I'm not being like, oh, that looks fake.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Enjoy the moment. Watch what you're gonna do. You're gonna if you can get. That's why I love independent wrestling. Obviously, WWE is the king. AEW is doing their thing, but like going to a live wrestling show in a small little VFW and like getting caught up in that moment, that's a high I can't replicate. That's just the best.
Yeah.
So, as silly as wrestling is in spandex, I will always take it seriously, because if I don't take it seriously, how would I expect any of my paying customers, any of my peers, how can I expect them to take it seriously?
And let's be honest, we might be experiencing the best wrestling out from the independent because of what?
Here we go. This is what I wanted to get into with Mr. Casey, even though we had him booked for a minute, and it's a nice segue.
Yes.
And in this next topic, what does it mean? WWE, and we talked about this with John, and we talked about this with Ryan, and we hinted, and we were like, yo, whatever's coming is going to be big. And we had this announcement. WWE ID is going to be reaching out to independents, and we're going to be pulling people from those independents, and we're going to be putting them into our own platforms where it's going to really open the doors for independent wrestling. And I'll tell you, it's already began to see the effect of this because they hit Tubi. WWE Evolve hit Tubi. And you got a guy like from here who we've talked about in this show, the human action figure Gall, was featured on Tubi last week. This guy's from the New England area. These are indies, and even though it's independent type wrestling, but it's on this WWE platform. I saw a school share pictures of their session in Rhode Island for people to come down to sign up for wrestling, and they were blown away because they had 35 people show up to that school to start taking wrestling. And I said, this is it. I said, when Triple H said at the last PLE presser, he said, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing that. And I said, man, I said the independents are about to experience highs, lows, success, and downs and ups that they've never probably ever seen before because of this one organization focusing on independence. Even though they've got 4 locations in the country, that's somebody's dream. And I felt like you're going to see the talent levels rise up at that independent level. Any promoters like Mr. Casey here and Mr. Drew who do it right, they can build off these successes. Ticket sales, some of these indies are already doing good with ticket sales, but you could kind of up your ticket prices to maybe pay guys better, pay people better, number one. But the thing is me that I'm worried about, and I got to ask Mr. Casey, what I'm worried about is that and I'm watching LFG, and we'll talk about LFG, but what I'm worried about is that I liked going to indies and seeing that guy that works a 9 to 5, but he's here just to, he wants to just be that guy on the weekend to be cheered for, or that guy that wants to work 9 to 5 and be that heel that nobody knows. And I feel like those guys who have built their careers of just being somebody who wants to be a crowd pleaser, I feel like this expansion of independent explosion is going to push some of these guys out, because some of these indies are going to, let's just be honest, some of these indies aren't going to take these guys or women anymore. That's going to be a 9x5 and not really be serious, because now if you've got the WWE putting eyes on your product and they're coming and taking guys from you for whatever, you're going to say, I can't have this type of person. So some of these indies are going to turn those guys away. I think there'll still be some independents that will take that type of wrestler, but I think it's coming. It's coming, and that was the question I had. I wanted to ask. I didn't want to ask that off air. I wanted to ask Mr. Casey that openly, because I wanted that emotion, because he's been in this 28 years. He's been in this game, and not once has the WWE ever have taken this type of opportunity to where you could be that guy pulled in, and you could be on Tubi like a guy like Gall. It's this is it. This is what you've been dreaming for at that independent level.
Facts.
Okay, so I have a couple of different thoughts to this. I guess first and foremost, the WWE ID program it has less to do with independent wrestling, and it has more to do with AEW. So for the last 3 years or so, I know AEW's been around for 5 years, but for the last 3 to 4 years, you saw a lot of the top up-and-coming independent talent get signed to AEW, locking them in for long-term contracts. A lot of the talents that were working those AEW dark tapings in the beginning, and those Elevation Dark, those YouTube shows that had like 20 AEW matches every time, you saw tons of talent, a lot of them that are currently in NXT, that were working those shows for AEW. So AEW had a really good avenue to connect with local independent companies, bringing in local independent talent. And then you saw, a lot of these guys that rising up that came from like Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and other companies, Creator Pro Wrestling, which was where MJF came from. These are these guys that are coming from these high level independents, and they're getting locked into AEW. So I think WWE saw that, and while they had a worldwide and fantastic training facility in NXT, where did they come from before NXT? The independents. So they had to try to find a way to stop allowing all this talent to go to AEW, and they needed a way to funnel some of those independent talents into the WWE umbrella and kind of create like a recruiting program to get them to the level where they need to be. And that way, when the time comes, they can look at their ID contracts and they can say, okay, these are who we want. We're going to pick up Gall. We're going to pick up Ricky Smokes. We're going to pick up A, B, and C. And they're going to be signed to an NXT deal. They're going to be going to developmental. They're going to be learning. In the meantime, they get to have these talents do these independent shows with an ID banner. They get to now have Evolve, which is a continuation of the original Evolve, which was an indie company in itself. I'm sure on that debut episode, they were showing highlights and clips of Evolve's past that had guys like Gunther and others that got their start there. Anthony Green, who's a tremendous New England talent. Josh Briggs, who's currently in NXT. These are guys that were in Evolve. And so in this new version of Evolve, they are using these WWE ID talents to kind of get a chance to give them some television exposure. So I guess the first part of my question to that is it's AEW. That's the reason why this exists. And I don't think that's a bad thing in theory. To your point about independent companies that would be booking these ID talents and perhaps pushing out some of these, I don't mean to be disrespectful in this term, weekend warriors or, part-time wrestlers that have a life. Sometimes it's because I have a family. I have 3 kids. I can't commit to exploring this world of pro wrestling. Like in NCW, Riot Kellen Thomas. Kellen Thomas, to this day, is one of the greatest pro wrestlers I've seen in New England, and that goes into the entire country. And he's fantastic. And he started wrestling in 2002. going into like 2005, 2006, this guy could have been into Ring of Honor. He could have gone anywhere. The world was his oyster, but he had a family. So he stepped away from wrestling. He took care of his family, and he didn't come back into wrestling until a few years later. And unfortunately, the wrestling scene had already exploded by the time he came back. So while he still is a tremendous, tremendous wrestler, he didn't get the opportunities he should have because he chose family, and that's okay. Yeah. He's still an amazing wrestler. He's still a guy that you can go to a local show and watch him, and you're like, damn, he's good. Yeah. And I still feel that way. He is my favorite wrestler to watch in pro wrestling, and he wrestles right at the Dedham VFW. Would I have loved to see him get like an ID contract or get an opportunity like that? Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to say that time has passed, but his priorities are surely different. He's okay being that wrestler that works those weekends and goes back to his real life after. So there's always going to be a home for places like that. And as far as independent companies in New England, do you know that there's over 50 wrestling companies in New England?
Yeah, Jeez. It's amazing. Yeah,
really?
It's crazy.
There are over 50 between the tip of Vermont down to Connecticut. There are 50 wrestling companies.
Wow.
It's a lot. And so based on that, you know, that piece of the pie, it's very small because even like Ryan Drew runs events in Brockton, Massachusetts. NCW runs shows in Dedham, Massachusetts. Those aren't incredibly far from one another, but we work within our own demographic in our towns, and we have our local fans that come see NCW, and then you have those local fans that come see Ryan Drew. Now, to the hardcore fans, now we're really splitting up that demographic because those hardcore independent wrestling fans have to choose between one or the other when we run on the same nights. And that sucks. There's only so many weekends in a month, and there's 50 wrestling companies. So it's tough to just like kind of narrow that down.
Right.
But, you know, I think that because there's so many wrestling companies, there will always be plenty of opportunities for all the different wrestlers, whether they're WWE ID, whether they are indie talent that's working Ring of Honor and have the potential to go to Ring of Honor for AEW, or if they just want to continue being those weekend warriors that are doing their thing to the local circuit. I think there's always going to be a place.
I'm glad to hear that, because that was my worry. That was my worry, that those would be the guys to well, I mean, like in this area we have a lot of places, but I mean in the smaller areas where they don't have as many promotions. But I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that because that was my biggest worry. But you know, it is. There's a lot of talk. You know, I don't think I've heard the word indie mentioned as much as you do now on a Raw or a SmackDown. I mean, the word is being thrown around quite a bit. Even on LFG, you know, I watch LFG and we'll be talking about that, but it's nice to see it. It's nice to see you guys getting that attention from AEW and WWE that you've deserved. I think it's you guys have always been this behind the scenes feeder system, but never really got the credit that you guys deserve. And now it's nice to see you guys getting it. So I applaud that.
Yeah, it is awesome. Like, I mean, Vince McMahon leaving WWE and the emergence of what WWE is now today under the TKO ownership, they are not afraid to admit that pro wrestling exists outside of the WWE bubble. So that has made a big difference in acknowledgement of that. Listen, NCW, I've always called ourselves like a mom and pop shop wrestling company. I don't have a giant budget. I don't have the ability to bring in big names or things like that. But, you know, Carmelo Hayes, again, he's a former NCW guy. He's a former NCW New England champion, and he's currently on SmackDown wrestling Randy Orton. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Gall in Evolve, Ricky Smokes from Swipe Right. Ricky Smokes is a former NCW tag team champion. These are guys that wrestled for NCW a couple of years ago, and they're continuing to move themselves up the ladder, and those guys are future WWE superstars, I have no doubt. So I'm always happy that NCW has been kind of a place for people to kind of break bread and get their feet wet before they move on to the next stage.
I don't know how Kevin feels about. For me, I feel like if you saw this guy come up through the ranks and then go to that point, and then that guy comes back to show some love, I find that to be more benefiting to me. I don't know about you, Kevin, but I think seeing the guy come up through and then make it and then come back versus, having the star come, I find that bigger to me. I don't know about you, Kevin.
I think, I feel the same way. I mean, to be honest, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you should do. It would be dope if Carmelo came back just to, put some eyes on NCW. This is where I started. You know what I'm saying? This is where I got my start. And I became champion, and that would be dope.
It would be awesome. It would be awesome. But the realities of it, I'm also like, whenever I speak, I don't really speak to a lot of these guys everyday life nowadays, but even the last time I spoke to Carmelo, like, he was always very appreciative of the time he spent in NCW. It's a very small snapshot. He was in NCW from 2014 to 2017. So like it was just a couple years, and he got a lot in there. He was training with the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. He was a chaotic wrestling guy that really kind of worked his way up, but like he got some of his, big matches first out of the way in NCW, and that's awesome. Like this year, with being our anniversary year and everything else, I'd love to try to bring like Fandango back in for a show. He was a guy that wrestled for me at 17 years old. He was 17. He's a former New England champion. He's a former tag team champion in NCW. So I'd love to try to get him down to Rhode Island or Massachusetts for a show to kind of, bring it all back full circle. That'd be awesome. Who knows? Maybe it will. We got try to get some surprises up our sleeves this year.
That's nice. That's dope right there. So 28 years.
Yep.
This Friday. So let everyone know. So how can they attend? Oh, also, I need to get a hoodie from you, bro.
Yeah, I can hook you up. Absolutely.
I gotta get one, man. Seriously. And do you know like the I'm in Ohio, and I don't know all of the places around here even that have local wrestling, because it seems like it's few and far in between in Ohio.
You give me a day, I'll find you at least a handful of wrestling companies that you can, I don't know, driving wise, whatever else, but within an hour away, you'll probably find you something.
Okay.
That's the beauty of independent wrestling, and especially in today's day and age. Like again, I'm 42. So when I was really getting into indie wrestling before everything started, I was a tape trader. I worked for RF Video, and I did tape tradings, and I sent VHS copies to people all over the country, did mail order, talking to people on the very early days of the internet, like on these message boards. Like, so I did all that stuff here. Like, I love technology now. You got a click of the finger and you can find anything you need to find. You got YouTube for everything. You can put that call out to whoever you want. Like, oh, we got to give me the best wrestling companies within 100 miles of Ohio. Like, I love it. Technology has connected everybody. Like, there's bad. Social media is bad for a lot of things, but there's also a lot of good for it too, of bringing people together.
Dell's in the chat. He says, "What's up, fellas?"
Dell, what's up, brother?
From Barry the Booking Podcast. Love when another
Barry
podcast
the
come
Booking
in here and
Podcast.
support the show. Hey, Dell, if you can. Dell, we got a good guest on here, John Casey. If you want to reach out to him and get him on Barry the Booking Podcast, that's another good look. That's how you network around here. So Dell Wilborn,
yes, sir,
who's in the chat,
Dell's,
Barry the Booking Podcast.
Barry the Booking Podcast. They out of Philadelphia, and they're strictly wrestling just like us, And they're dope. We've done two pods with them.
Yep.
We usually do like the major one. So like when there's a major pay-per-view coming up, we either do the Tuesday before or we'll do the Tuesday after, so we can recap everything. So it's just dope.
Nice.
I gotta ask my man, because this was a big thing, even though it happened 2 weeks ago. It's still being talked about every week. Your thoughts on the Cena heel turn?
I don't generally watch a lot of WWE now. I did watch the Royal Rumble, and I saw the whole thing. We sometimes use pro wrestling scorecards to kind of predict our match results and things like that. We have a little group that keeps the scores on things, and I'll tell you what, the last thing I had on my predictions list was Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. So,
Okay.
I'm watching this thing. Originally, my idea would be, it'll come down to Cena and Punk, and Cena's going to eliminate Punk. And then, Cena gets tossed out. You're watching it, and you're like, oh, okay, wow, Jey Uso's in there with Cena. Okay, Cena's going to toss out Jey Uso. And then, they did something which I didn't see coming, which was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
And then you saw Cena get tossed out. And then you're sitting there and you're like, okay, it's this dude's last year. We know that he's going to go for his number 17. We know that what's the path to get there? What are they going to do?
Right.
Then you get to the Elimination Chamber and you have The Rock doing his weird ass I want your soul thing with Cody.
That was weird. I don't know.
I watched the highlights of it. People told me I watched it. I was like, I can't watch that live. I watched the highlights and I was like, what is happening? But
we were too. We were too.
We know Cody's not gonna align himself with The Rock. Cody Rhodes is the most purebred babyface. Like, he's just he is the babyface. So
is he really a babyface though?
Yes.
I think Cody's a little he can be. I think he is kind of like one of those wrestlers that he can be a babyface one night and then the next night he can be a heel.
I mean, he can be a heel, but he is the company's hot ticket item. He is the guy that sells these tickets right now. If you compare him to other baby faces, no one does the job of a baby face like Cody Rhodes. He makes his opponents look good. He's always firing up these crowds. He's going on social media and picking kids out of a crowd and giving them free tickets. Like, this guy's just a good ambassador for the company. So he's not going to be bad with The Rock. And so then you're thinking, okay, so who's going to be turning and joining up with Rock? I still thought it was going to be CM Punk. So I was like, oh, okay, Punk's going to win Elimination Chamber and he's going to turn on Cody. Then that didn't happen either. And then Cena wins. And I'm like, okay, well, they keep on changing the game a little bit. And then when they have Rocky come out and be the thing with Cody gives him the big FU. And, they do the whole, hug, slit the throat, and John Cena turned on a dime. And I'll tell you what, I mean, besides the fact that Travis Scott was out there making everybody look foolish because he didn't know what the hell was going on, it was a very well done segment. It literally got the world talking. People that haven't watched wrestling in 15 years, they're like, oh, you got to check out this YouTube clip. I'll be honest, I didn't watch Elimination Chamber, but I did turn on Raw that Monday thinking they'd follow up on it. And that's where WWE just missed the ball again. Like, I don't care if Cena's out filming a movie somewhere. Get him in satellite, get him on the screen, do a promo.
They made people wait.
They made people wait. And I wish, then, you know what? I wish they would have put him on the screen, had him get ready to speak, and then he just walk away. Tease it out until a couple weeks until they go international, and then put him out in the ring like he did on Monday and do that face-to-face with Cody. But, Cena's going to be effective in this role. He's going to be effective in this role. The question is, does he go over Cody at WrestleMania? Does he get number 17?
Yes.
Or if Cody wins, does that just bury John Cena as a bad guy right out of the gate? And, there's nowhere else to go. I don't know.
Cena goes over. I think Cena goes over at this point.
I think he has to go over.
Yeah, I think it's coming. Yeah, I think it's coming. Felicia's in the chat. She says Punk would never join Rock. That's her opinion. She says in there. So it was a great moment. It was.
We were all wrong about Royal Rumble, though. I tell you that.
So
we were all wrong about Royal Rumble. Super wrong. Nobody said Jey Uso. Nobody. I don't know nobody that picked Jey Uso.
I'm fine with Jey Uso. Give him. The problem is that having the two world titles, one title is always going to be less important. No offense to Gunther. He's world heavyweight champion, but they don't have the same heat of what Cody's doing right now with The Rock and with John Cena. You got the three biggest people in all of pro wrestling, and then you've got, right now, Jey Uso, is he even going to get a chance to main event night one, or is he going to be stuck in the opener and they're going to let Rhea Ripley main event night one? Like, I think
Jey Uso a main event night one. I think I have a hot take that I ran past Sinister and he was like, I don't know, but I believe The Rock is bringing back the corporation to some degree, and I think that WrestleMania is going to come, and I think he's going to have some hand in Jey Uso winning, and I think he's going to kind of take Jey under his wing as one of the guys for, to join the corporation. I think Jey Uso, he's going to be champion. I think John Cena is going to be champion, and both of those guys, along with maybe one other person, because you remember he kept holding up like three fingers at one point. I think it's three people. Because he says in these interviews, like, nothing that I do there's a purpose. It's hidden things that I do that people don't find out till later on. I think Jey Uso is going to be part of.
That would be a very big mistake.
Yeah,
that dude sells tickets. He sells T-shirts. He spent 4 years getting out of the thumb of Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
If they just go ahead and make him a lackey for The Rock, biggest mistake you could possibly do.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't know what they'll do. I don't know which way they'll go. So,
yeah.
They swerved me a couple different times on this story, but I think the best thing they could do for themselves is keep them separated. I could still see Rock getting involved with those bloodline cats and using like the other ones, Solo Sakai and Jacob Fatu and all the other 30 Samoans they got running around there. I can see them still coming in and being with Rock in some way, being his corporation.
Yeah.
But I don't see Jey, but we'll see. Who knows?
The only reason why, and another reason why I said Jey, is because we got to have some way for Roman and Rock to have a disagreement. So that's
coming. That will come. That will come. So they got to get their promised WrestleMania match that they've been wanting to do for 10 years.
Exactly.
They got to do it at some point.
Exactly.
Rock's not getting any younger. He only got a couple more matches in him.
Right. Let's tackle some of these other topics here. So we talked about the season kickoff and everything. AEW, they announced Collision in Wichita, Kansas, May 17th. I just watched, what was that pay-per-view AEW just had?
Revolution. The crazy.
Revolution was crazy.
that women's match was out of control.
Yes, it was. I've never seen, when you told me to go watch it, I said, let me sit down. And I turned that on. I have never seen women bleed like that ever. I mean, like, it was glass in buckets that they taped on. They're doing, AEW's doing a lot of stuff just to try to compete and keep up with rating wise. I mean,
match of the year. That match is match of the year nods. When we're talking at the end of this year, that's going to be mentioned. That's up there.
That Swerve and Ricochet match too, man. That match, gee, you talking about talent? That match right there was one of the best matches I ever watched. Anytime Swerve gets in pay-per-view and he goes against Will Ospreay or these guys that really go really hard in the ring, they always have a great match, man. I don't know how y'all feel, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, I've always liked Ricochet. I'm just the fact that he didn't like to do promos and he had this fear of talking is why he got released from the WWE. They wanted more from him, but he didn't want to go that route. And the funny thing is it took them releasing him for him to realize that, because now he's kind of opened up. He's cutting more promos to the point where he's getting that crowd response. So Ricochet's kind of a guy that, you know, could end up back in the WWE if things don't work out, now that he's doing the stuff that Triple H wants him to do. So it's going to get real interesting to see. AEW has lost some key guys, you know. Ray Phoenix promo
that was crazy
SmackDown.
too. I seen that.
So that's coming, and Aleister Black, I'm pretty sure, is going to be this Judgment Day member that they're trying to fill the void with. Mm-hmm. As you know, this week they've been talking about.
I think Finn's going to leave eventually.
Yeah, I think Aleister Black fills that well.
Well, I mean, so AEW has a ton of talent. They have a lot of talent, amazing talent. And people give AEW a lot of crap. I'm of two minds of it. One, a lot of people that complain about the tribalism of WWE versus AEW and all that. Clearly, we're never around for the Monday Night Wars or WCW versus
100%
WWF. Like, yeah, we didn't have Facebook back then, but we had some message boards. We had some nasty talk.
Yes, we did.
Or just look at the signs out in the crowd. Like, there was some brutal wars back then. So social media has just kind of lit that all up to where everybody can get on their soapbox and bitch about things.
Yeah.
But like, the truth is, like, tribalism has always existed in wrestling. And AEW's made some mistakes along the way, but AEW, they're just a little over 5 years in, a national wrestling company born out of nothing.
Yeah.
They're going to make some mistakes. WWE's been around for 60 plus years. Like, AEW's, they're taking their baby steps on live TV every week. You got to give them a little more grace. You got to give them a little more chance to make those mistakes, because they're going to rebound. They're going to come back through. They got the money, they got the backing, they got the talent.
Right.
Just got to give them some time. But yeah, the people that complain about, oh, AEW's better or WWE's better, and I grew up in the 90s. I dealt with NWA versus Vince. Like, come on.
Dell's in the chat. He said that show had some bangers. He said Ospreay and Fletcher in the cage match was.
I know that. Ospreay and Fletcher off the top of the cage. Did you see that?
I did not. No, I saw some clips. Again, if there's one thing, even WWE or anything else, I just don't have 4 hours to commit to my time.
Yeah.
I love watching some highlight clips and stuff like that. And actually, now that AEW does their streaming on Max, it's given me the ability to kind of watch some of their stuff a little bit more. So I'm very excited to check it out when I have the time. But I just usually stick
on
to
Prime now. That's crazy.
Yep, that's cool. Those are big moves. Yeah. Those are big moves in this time and age. Like, but I did see some of the. I did see the Spanish fly off the cage, and that was pretty.
My goodness.
That was pretty sick.
Nobody in WWE would have done that. I mean, seriously.
There's probably some fool out there that would do it, but you know,
I don't think they would have landed it like they did though.
Will Ospreay, he's probably the best pure wrestler going on the national scene right now.
Yes, he is. I agree. Will Ospreay is a man. Will Ospreay figures, come get my money. Seriously, there's a figure that I want that it's a 1 of 3,000, but now you got to try to get it in the aftermarket. Come take my money. I need it. TNA, the Hardys and Moose not cleared to compete after sacrifice. Well, I mean, they did have some tough matches.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
They had some tough matches. That match, Obafemi and Moose was so dope. Yeah, it was dope. And then we know what the Hardys do. You know, they're a little too old. You know, to be doing some of the stuff that they're doing now. You jumping
ladder matches at that age.
Yeah, you are really hurting yourself.
You're gonna feel
you're definitely gonna feel it. TNA looking to secure a bigger TV deal. Where would they go though? What do you think?
Well, with the WWE acquisition behind them, I think there's a push for them to get. I mean, WWE is taking everything up. So where does TNA go? I mean, you got
That's what I'm saying.
Evolve. You got Evolve on Tubi. You've got.
You add them to Netflix, maybe.
Nah, I can't see TNA on Netflix. No, maybe Hulu.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think that might be overestimating TNA's value.
Yeah.
If they really get bought out by, I mean, listen, this talent exchange they got going on with NXT, it gives a lot of shine to TNA.
Yeah.
But I mean, to say, like, put it this way, when WWE started airing Evolve events on the WWE network, that was a big thing that happened, and it also eventually led Evolve to being bought out by WWE. So I would definitely say that this talent exchange could be a precursor to TNA just getting swallowed up whole and eventually bought out by WWE. They might not even need to do another TV show. They just might be throwing them all into the NXT pool when it's all said and done.
You're right.
But
You're right about that.
Yeah, they could do that. That's true. That is true.
WWE update, LFG. I seen so in regards to LFG, the promos with CM Punk. Did you enjoy that, Sinister? Did you watch that?
Yeah, you know what? That's one of the most horrible things that they have, other than my pick from day one. My pick is the kid is killing it. Shiloh Hill is my.
I can't get invested in it like that, bro. I try.
I like Shiloh Hill. The asshole of the show got injured at an indie event, so he hasn't been on the show. He disrespected Undertaker. He disrespected Bubba Ray twice.
Yeah,
I felt
that's
like
not how you get on.
Karma was in there. The interesting question I have for you is, I watched it this week, and I had a question for you because you're a married man.
Yeah.
And there was an incident on the show where, as we all know, Undertaker is one of the coaches, and all the coaches are competing against each other to win this title and have their guys get their contract. So during the episode, his wife shows up, Michelle McCool, without saying anything. He didn't know. She shows up out the blue, and he's like, "Oh, babe, why are you here?" And she's like, "Oh, Mickey called me to help her with one of her wrestlers." And you could tell Undertaker was a little upset because this is a competition. Mickey James is a competition against him, and Mickey calls her in to help train one of her wrestlers get over. And Undertaker's like, "Oh, okay, well, that's gonna," off camera he says that's gonna come back to haunt. But he was a little upset, and my question is to you, your wife and you are in this business, and would you have been upset? Because I feel like my opinion is, I feel like Michelle McCool should have said to Mickey James, "Hey, I'm honored that you would ask me to come out and train this wrestler, but my husband's competing against you in this competition. I can't." And I felt like that's what Michelle McCool should have done. Maybe I'm different. I don't know. But that's what I felt. But I think Undertaker had a right to feel some type of way that his wife came in and didn't say nothing to him and trained. You're a married guy. How would you feel?
If he felt like that, right? Why didn't he just have her come in and train the women that's underneath him? I mean, you know what I mean? Because
I don't think he knew that was an option. I think that's
Undertaker not knowing that's an option. I mean, to me, so me and my wife are competitive anyway. To some degree. So if we were in the business and she came in and trained somebody, I'll be like, "Oh, okay. I'm gonna make sure that my girl beats your girl. Okay." I'm gonna make sure I would be like, "I didn't even know we could place a quick phone call. Let me make a phone call." And I would have called somebody.
Lita. I'd have called Lita.
I would call Lita, somebody, you know what I'm saying? Trish Stratus. I'd have called somebody and got them in there. But I wouldn't have felt slighted to that degree, because like I said, I mean, Undertaker, you were still more successful. I mean, you're the most successful person on that panel. I mean, it don't matter who they bring in and train. Anyone who's able to come up underneath you and get anything that you are able to give them, they're gonna. And if they grasp it and they receive it and they take it the right way, they'll be successful. So, even the the woman that he has, that's training underneath him. So, I don't feel like he should have won.
I like
but
the show. It's a good show.
We don't want to keep it real, but it's an ego kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh, now my wife is now. So if this girl comes in and is successful, and the girl that I got isn't successful, they're gonna look at me like, oh, I can't I can't train women, but my wife can. I would look at it differently than him. Like I would say, hey, if I can't train this woman, my wife can.
Right. Well, so there is one thing that did bother me about the show this week that I did learn that I'm not kind of happy with. When they first put this show on, they made it look like that these kids were from independents and things of that sort. And now is where 4 episodes in, you've got one kid who is dating what's her name from WWE, and then there's another guy. His girlfriend is also in the WWE. So I'm like, okay, you were at first were led on that these people were from all different walks of life, and now we're finding out that some of these people are connected to stars and boyfriends and whatever, and I'm not happy with that. I felt like people shouldn't have that connection. So I don't know.
That should be offered to real independent, like real indie guys and girls, you know what I mean? Like that are out there busting their ass. That's who that should be, offered to. Not people you shouldn't be able to get in just because I know The Rock's daughter, so you know what I mean? They put me on this show to see if I can become a superstar. That's trash.
Felicia in the chat says maybe he didn't want to be in Michelle's shadow on national TV. She says Mark knew.
She would be in his shadow. She's not big enough. Michelle McCool has never been bigger than Undertaker. Like she would have been in his. I think it's just a man thing where you don't want, if it's a competition and you lose, they're gonna say he lost to his wife, and that's thoughts, unfortunately.
John? So I have not watched any of this show.
Yeah.
I guess what I will say is that WWE reality TV is probably a lot like regular reality TV. So some drama is probably manufactured.
Yeah.
There's probably some kernels of truth to every part of it. And I'm sure those producers are setting things up to let the dominoes fall when they're ready to. And
they wanted us to have this conversation.
Exactly.
They got us. They put the hook out. They got us.
They got us, and whoever else is talking about it. So,
and that's what gives them a second season.
Yeah, exactly.
Felicia says Mark knew.
Yeah,
she's saying it in the chat.
Yeah, mean Mark. Yeah, he definitely knew. 1028. Real quick, Raw review. How what'd you think of Raw? Did you see
Raw
it too, John?
Raw in Brussels was great. Y'all can just shut the noise down about Travis Scott making Cena's music for him, because what happened on Netflix in Brussels, Germany, you can't predict. This is why I love the WWE and wrestling, all wrestling sometimes, because when the fans change your whole idea, because for weeks we've been hearing Travis Scott is doing John Cena's new heel intro. And when they came out and you heard the John Cena theme and you heard the horns, but the crowd was saying, John Cena sucks.
They've always said
John
that,
Cena sucks. I was like, yo, that's going to be real good, though.
They've always said John Cena sucks. But I believe that we're not going to see what he really is going to be until WrestleMania. He's not going to he's going to wait. you know, if you remember all of the time John Cena has ever been in WrestleMania, it's always been a big entrance, a big crazy entrance. Every time he's been in WrestleMania going against anyone for the belt, especially, he's always pulled out all the stops at WrestleMania.
Well, he said he's not changing it. He said it. He said, I'm not changing my music. He said he's not changing. He said you still can't see me. So, you know, he's playing this.
He's gonna. Yeah, I think he's
playing
doing a little
this. Bit of. I like how he's playing the heel.
Yeah.
I think John Cena had been dying for this moment to play a heel. I think he's been itching to play this heel for the long, because people tend to forget when he came out as the Doctor of Dugnomics, that was a heel. But unfortunately, everybody liked the goofy rapper picking on other rappers with these raps, and the heel character never really took off. So he became this face.
I think he's really gonna. I think we're gonna see something different, just because when he comes out now, he's looking like a sad puppy. He ain't really looking like he's, you know, he's looking like, I'm out here. Y'all did this to me. 25 years I was in a toxic relationship. Like, come on. Okay, you cut that promo.
I like that.
I know promo. But I'm saying, I believe he's not gonna keep up with that though, until he's gonna change something. There's gonna be something, because even Cody said, where's the guy that's on this shirt? Where's he at? Like, because if I cut, he said, you better find him, because if you bring this guy to the ring,
the whiny bitch.
Yeah. I'm going to kick his, you know what I'm saying? So I think that we'll see a change. It's not going to be the same music and all of that. I think I even think that WrestleMania, Travis Scott's going to come out, walk him to the ring. I even believe that with his new song. I believe that. I think so. Lastly,
the Penta match was real good too with
I seen
Kaiser.
That. Ludwig, he was kind of I mean, Ludwig didn't sell like I thought he would on some of those. Like he did that move, and he landed on that chair, and he didn't even really sell it.
Well, I think they thought he was hurt, because the ref did come over and he did go down, and you know, he did ask him if he was. You saw that, but there was another scary moment when Jey Uso went over the top rope and he missed the spot, and his back hit the side of the ring. Exactly. I thought he was going to be hurt, but he bounced.
He said, "I'm okay. I'm okay." My thing is, hey Jay, you jump through the middle, okay? You don't go over the top. That's not your thing. When you were younger, you would jump over the top. Now you jump through the middle rope. Just jump through the middle rope, man, if you're going to do that. Because he almost never clears the top. I don't know if y'all pay attention to that. He almost never clears the top when he tries to jump over the top rope. I don't know I don't know. I don't understand what's going on with that. WrestleMania rounding out. I said that Rhea was going to make herself, is going to make that a triple threat.
You called it. Yes, you did. You called it. She came out and she signed the contract and put Adam Pearce on notice. And he's like, you can't sign the contract. You're not there. She's like, it's a legitimate thing. I signed it. Make it a 3-woman.
Yep.
So,
and then I also called what if you hear about what Seth Rollins was talking about. He's like, I'm going to go over to SmackDown where CM Punk and Roman are going to be talking to each other, and I'm just going to make an appearance, and I'll just be the third wheel. So that's going to be a triple threat as well.
See, I think Seth is that corporation guy.
He might be.
Because he curb stomped CM Punk. He curb stomped CM Punk for Cena to win. So I'm like, is Seth the guy? You know, he's also going around. You know, he's been going on with this whole thing. You know, burn it down. That's you know that's his motto. So I could see him being that corporation. I could see him being.
He was guy. Triple H's guy for a while. He was Triple H's guy for a while. Yeah.
Seth Rollins fits into that. So
yeah, you're right. They took and they said something about they're removing freaking from his name or something like that.
I don't know what happened there, but the WWE had to move the freaking from the Seth Rollins name.
I think that's going to be because you can't be Seth freaking Rollins in the corporation.
Ooh.
So you might be right. They might have taken that down for those reasons. Like, you know what I mean? Just to kind of throw us off, make it seem like it was something legal maybe. But you might be right on Seth. That'd be super dope. Yeah. Well, John, thanks for coming on with us tonight. Real quick, tell everybody how to, your social media, how to get in contact with you. How do we get a hoodie? I know I need one ASAP. And also, Friday, how they can get tickets and things of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. So Northeast Championship Wrestling, our website is thencw.com. So thencw.com. And you can get tickets right on there. We got some early bird tickets for like $12. We have VIP tickets for $20 where you can pick your own seat. You get some food and you get a trading card. You can get those tickets online now. And then if you want to join us at the door, it's only $15 at the door to enjoy the show. These nights do usually sell out. We run out of chairs. So if you wait to the last minute, you might be standing in the back near the bar, which isn't a bad thing either. I prefer that sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's thencw.com. You can check us out on Facebook, NCW Wrestling. We're all over the place on the socials. And if you can't make it to this Friday night, I hope you can make it out to a show this year. We got a lot of good stuff going. Yeah, there's 50 wrestling companies in New England. I like to say that I'm the 11th best wrestling company in New England. I think top 10 is way too much pressure, but I'll happy at a number 11. I think that works better. Check it out. Come on down. If you can't come to a show, you can check out our streaming site at ncwunlimited.com, and you can watch some of our events there too.
Let's go, ncwunlimited.com.
Yes,
that's
sir.
What's up. Well, this was a great show. Make sure y'all hit John up on all of his social medias. Make sure y'all go follow him. Show up to this Friday. Get them tickets now. They will sell out. And hey, if you end up by the bar, at least you can get some chicken wings and something good to drink.
Felicia's in the chat. Felicia says another great podcast. Thank you. Good to see you, John.
Yes. Thank you, Felicia.
So Felicia, if she can get the kids out the house, Felicia.
Yeah, get the kids out. Yeah,
check them out
for sure.
Absolutely,
for sure,
absolutely,
definitely.
Well, this is great. I'm Lito, and that's my guy Sinista1 for John Casey. Yo, this is Turnbuckles and Spit Liquor Podcast, and we are out.
Hitting me in vantage points, so I can't abandon joints. Gotta grab the coins, pay me wickedly. Superman of Thor, who am I? Haters mimic me, and they fans cheer him on with their capabilities. Wow. Double entendre, crazy lyrically. Had to read a page in Timothy to take it seriously. Cause I ain't scared, I ain't got no fear, baby, get with me. Open doors for the people, you can say it's chivalry. I drop bombs, it'll be a day in infamy. Mainly cause all my ops feeling painful instantly. Stay for sympathy, not me. Creating imagery that everybody you like. I made a simile. Facts.